Hi, my name is Paul Wolf. I've lived for 66 years as a child, a student, a husband, a dad, a friend, an employee, a professional business person who has run small and large corporations. I'm also a Christian counselor who has worked and currently works with many, many individuals through life challenges. And for close to these 40 years, I've experienced the reality of the grace of God in Jesus Christ. I am God's child. In each of these roles, in fact, in all the seasons of my life, like everyone, I have waged battle with what I call the anxiety and fear monsters. And I still do. As does every single person you will ever meet. So we're here to talk about the art of possibility, how fear and anxiety will not get the final word. The reason I'm here is I've been involved with Hands Offering Hope for many years. I have family who live in Chiquila. Speaking with you, sharing with you today is an honor. I come to you with my heart and hope that this Institute experience will be even more than you ever thought it could be. So let's begin. There are two truths I'd like you to explore and take away from this beginning discussion about fear and anxiety. Turn to the first page for this discussion. You'll see these truths printed on one sheet. It looks kind of like this. Truth number one, I'm not alone. People care for me, want to understand me, and want to hear me. Now, I want you to repeat this out loud with me. Are you ready? I'll say it in English, you'll say it in Spanish. I am not alone. Are you doing it? Okay. I am not alone. People care for me, want to understand me, and want to hear me. Take a look at that truth and take a few seconds right now and write this truth down. Take a pen, write it down. I am not alone. People care for me, want to understand me, and want to hear me. I'd even say it out loud. Come on, let's do it together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I am not alone. People care for me, want to understand me, and want to hear me. Chicos, do you believe this? Do you actually, really, honestly, in your heart, believe that you're not alone? That people care for you, want to understand you, and want to hear you? A few of you, some of you might. Some of you might not. But I want you to think about something, because here's a fact. Each one of you has been accepted as a student of the Hands Offering Hope Leadership Institute, so you really are not alone. In fact, you've joined a family of hundreds of people who are offering their hands and heart to you. And you're going to be encouraged and perhaps even pushed to be the kind of person who offers their hand and their heart to others so that they know that they're not alone, that they're cared for, and that they're heard. You're not alone. We are not alone. This fact that you and we are not alone is perhaps one of the most important things for you to embrace and act upon as we face fear and anxiety. So let's look at truth number 2. Focus on today. Today, it is full of enough challenges. You really cannot control tomorrow. When I say that you really can't control tomorrow, does that sound scary? It does for some, because we all want to control tomorrow. Well, take a deep breath. Slow down. Think about this second truth, logically and peacefully. Embracing this second truth is really important as we confront anxiety and fear. So let's look at it logically. Control over tomorrow is not possible, literally, for anyone. Sure, we may have a general idea of what we think we'll be doing tomorrow, but control the events that you'll encounter tomorrow? All the people that you're going to meet, you can control how they're going to behave? You can control whether it rains or the sun is incredibly hot? Not possible. And think about it, the fact that you can't control tomorrow peacefully. You're not alone. No human being on the face of the earth has control over tomorrow. The only one who controls tomorrow is the Lord God. Controlling tomorrow is not what you're designed to be. Find your design in learning how to concentrate on what you can deal with today. So those are the two truths. And now come the lies. Fear and anxiety speak two lying messages, and they do it very loudly. These lying messages are common to everyone on earth. You're not alone in hearing these lies and in facing these lies. So what are they? You'll see them on the second page of the material in your book. They're in a chart that looks like this. Anxiety and fear message number 1. You are alone and you're in trouble. No one understands what you're experiencing, and worse, no one really cares enough to hear about you. That's lie number 1. Anxiety and fear message number 2. Tomorrow, the next day, even your future is at risk. You, chicos, are in big trouble. Let's compare the truth, the two truths that we have, with the lies of anxiety and fear. When you see them side by side, you understand that they are completely opposite of each other. The truth is you are not alone. Anxiety and fear will try to terrorize you and say you are alone. The truth is that you can focus on today. Anxiety and fear will stir you up and get you crazy about what might happen tomorrow. And you'll begin to think about all the things that will happen tomorrow. All lies, because you can't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Have you heard these lies? Have you listened to them? I certainly have. And so has everyone else on earth. In this battle to embrace truth and confront the lies, you're not alone. To understand why these are lies, let's actually define anxiety and its close cousin, fear. So take a look at the definitions that I've provided on the third page or the next page of your material. Anxiety is a reaction. It's a reaction of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about someone or something you will soon face. The outcome of this encounter that you're worried about is uncertain and it's potentially bad. Fear is more like an experience. It's caused by the belief that someone or something is actually dangerous to you, likely to cause pain or a threat. That you will lose something or someone who is dearly, dearly precious to you. See, fear is anxiety made very specific. I'm anxious, for example, that I may lose my job. And then I think, maybe all these bad things will happen. That's anxiety. I lost my job. I'm filled with anxiety. And these bad things are coming, and they're here right now. And they'll be here tomorrow. That's fear. I want you to notice two very important things that fear and anxiety share. First of all, they predict the future, and they ignore today's challenges. I think you know that lie, that they're describing the future, is an impossible fact. They do not know the future. The other thing, really importantly, is that anxiety and fear are more than a feeling. They're a very, very big reaction. Mind, physical, emotional, spiritual, often all at once. Have you ever felt a knot in your stomach before a test at school? That's your body reacting to the voice of anxiety as it lies to you about the future and confuses your heart and mind, my heart and mind, and even impacts your soul's peace. Anxiety can speak so loudly that you can have what's called an anxiety attack. The voice of anxiety telling you what may happen in the future. Becoming so strong it grabs you, feels like it's on your throat, and keeps you from thinking, feeling, even seeing clearly. It takes you over, making today's challenges foggy and just driving you to think about what's going to happen in the future, as if the entire universe is about how you will fail or be hurt. I've been there. Have you? Oh, chicos, you and I, we're not alone in this fight with anxiety. You see, to be human is to be anxious and fearful. Anxiety and fear are normal. There's much in this very challenging world that can makes a degree of anxiousness and fear very smart. What we don't want is for anxiety and fear to get the final voice, especially since they lie. What we want to do, you and I, we want to learn to speak back at anxiety, to learn to listen to a different set of voices, not to listen and embrace the lies of anxiety and fear, and to help ourselves. What we actually also need to learn is to help others do the same. So I want to do an exercise with you. Take a look at your book and your material, and you'll see exercise number 1. And there are 2 parts to this exercise. It'll take about 15 to 20 minutes and a little bit of courage. So here's part 1, and you can read along with me. I want you to identify a few things that actually do make you anxious or fearful. You're going to learn that you're not alone, for real. Take a look at the page in your material that says exercise 1, and I have all the instructions there. I wrote down, I made a list of a few things that can make many of us anxious, and a few of them make me anxious from time to time. You'll see them. Certain people, money, health, success, etc. So here's what I want you to do. In the first 10 minutes, I want you to circle the things in the list that's been provided that make you anxious. That's number 1. Number 2, are there other things that make you anxious? Go ahead. Add them to the chart. And then I want you to take one, and only one, of the things that make you anxious and write down the answer to the following questions. When I'm anxious about this thing, what do I actually hear this anxious thing tell me about the future and myself? Number 2, what does it feel like in your body and mind when you get anxious? Take the time to remember. Maybe you're anxious now. Does your mind whirl around and grasp at many thoughts? Do you get a stomachache? What's your experience? You can describe this experience with a drawing, make a little poem, write some sentences, bullet points. I don't really care. But the point is this. I want you to express yourself by describing the actual experience of being anxious. And then finally, I want you to read what you have written. Have you learned anything new about anxiety and fear? Note this in writing. Write it down. What have you learned, if anything? Well, go ahead. I'll be back for part 2.